Chance the Rapper announced that he's dropping the album, and I think, you know, what all of us find interesting is that it's coming out in July, you know, and that's 6 months away. So this is a traditional you know, 1999 rollout, you know, where you announce the album forever ahead and build anticipation. And he's calling it his first album. You know, he's dropped plenty projects, but he's referring to this project as his first album. So what are your thoughts on like the long-term rollout? Is this still something that's a smart idea for artists, you know, who are on the up and up? Because Chance is not the here's the thing. Kids nowadays still say, oh, I could be independent. Look at Chance the Rapper. And as true as that may be, Chance is like saying like, oh, LeBron did it, I could do it. You know, Chance is the LeBron of independent rappers. He's you know what I'm saying? So it's like, as realistic as it is, you do have to look at it like he is a special case. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of independent artists model him in his strategy. So that's definitely something I wanted to, you know, get your thoughts on.
I mean, first of all, so I guess, are we officially in the era where we just say the LeBron of stuff instead of Jordan?
Oh, 100%, man.
That's what it is?
100%.
All right, I'll make sure I stay with the times despite the reality of the situation. So I love the long-term rollout, and I don't think it can die. It's only a matter of whether people are doing it or not. Like, so it just has a different function. So back in the day, that was like the way of doing things and looked at as the way to have success. That's not going to work for most artists, particularly when you have all these other people who don't have those situations. Chance has a more traditional situation, not in terms of maybe record label, blah, 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 but as far as a level of visibility and access to resources, he has that to be able to actually pull that off. That's one thing. So it's still something that's effective, but it might not be done from a standpoint of, oh, this is going to get me more views or listens than I typically would have.
Right.
It's more so from a fact of, I think what you'll see different with Chance, like from mixtape Chance to album rollout Chance, especially with this longer rollout, is there'll probably be more depth and thought to the experience. So what does that actually look like? Yeah, this isn't going to be stuff that gets me more views, but this might be stuff that gets me, like, that allows me to do a deeper experience. It's just going to be
a deeper relationship, kind of like when 2 Chainz did Trap House.
Right, like to do more interesting stuff like 2 Chainz, right? To do more like non-digital, real-world type activations, stuff that's interesting that people get hype about and really brand. That's all it's going to be about. The longer album rollout is more going to be a brand situation versus a marketing situation.
100%. Yeah, man. I think Chance definitely, he's been a pioneer to this entire new generation as far as just staying independent. And I think if you look at last year and look at somebody who kind of set a present day example of the not the long-term rollout, but the more, like you said, like real life activation, is Travis Scott with Astroworld, you know, down to the merch, down to, like, you know, the shows and everything else. It was like a real world experience. You know what I'm saying?
And that was a post-album rollout.
Post-album rollout, which is genius, you know? Genius. And I think a lot of artists need to pay attention to, because a lot of artists look at what you could do prior to the album coming out, but they really need to pay attention to the after release rollout. You know, that's where
people should be focused on post-album rollouts. If you're especially an indie artist, because you need every single bit of attention you bring in to trickle down eventually to some music, right? If you're Chance, you can afford people not hearing the album yet whenever you do all this marketing and energy, put energy out there. But if you're an artist, you need them to lead back to your music. And if you're doing a heavy rollout before there's music out, then you're wasting. You're wasting.
Right. Yeah, you know, and that's really it, man. I think Chance, he's definitely gonna have a moment this year, you know. I think this album.
Let's just wait and see. I feel like we're gonna talk about this again. I feel like that.
Man. So, like, what out of like from what you've seen from February, January, what marketing trends for new artists do you think, is really what's going to be, the wave for the year? You see, one thing I know is like kind of obvious, but I think artists don't understand how intentional it is confrontation. You look at Tory Lanez, you look at The Game, you look at any new artist, Trippie Redd, 6ix9ine, any new artist, Google the Lil Pump plan. This is a step-by-step strategy on how to blow, in this new age, this SoundCloud sort of scene. And one of the main points in it is, artificial, confrontation. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's this trend of just artists like Tory Lanez, like The Game, who are kind of just going out being super, antagonists, and seeing what type of reactions, Soulja Boy, seeing what type of reactions they could provoke out of a Drake, out of a Kanye, out of a whoever is in power, whoever they see as somebody whose attention matters. And I'm not telling artists go out and antagonize the world, but I do think it's something that they need to take note of, that nothing is just happening just cause, very few things at least. And a lot of these things are like super staged, and it is a way to hoard it for real. And it's a way to hoard attention, because the first thing you're going to stop when you're scrolling through your Instagram is somebody having a confrontation with somebody else. You're going to stop and say, okay, wait, what's happening? Who's after who? What's going on? So,
yeah, I think it's spot on. Like, obviously, the confrontation for publicity isn't even a new thing. It's
right.
always just like all these stage situations have always been a part of the entertainment industry, right? Or as more gets added on, it becomes more common over time, just like people stage these relationships, right? They let people think that they're in a relationship whenever they're doing a co-star in a movie, right? Because it's going to create more buzz for the movie. Oh, these people are actually dating. Let's see what happened instead. Or stars pretending to date each other, or letting those rumors spread because it gives them more attention, even if they're not dating for real. And when it comes to the music industry, I think it really started to come to head in the 2000s. I know it existed here and there before then, but I think that was probably when the executives really started to take it seriously with somebody like 50 Cent. I feel like nobody has done it that and made that as integral to their career like 50 Cent.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah, we're talking about from, these little petty things that he's doing now in the social media era to literally he's staged moments. He spread news of him like attacking executives or something like that, I believe. And it never happened, but just so other executives could hear that and not flex on him and be afraid of him, right? And push this entire bad guy, this whole bad guy narrative that he had going on. There's been like record labels doing like stage shootouts, all that stuff. But back in the day, people wouldn't necessarily see it, right? There's no less cameras, so you could just spread the story. You don't even have to actually stage the shootout. You could just say there was a shootout, and then people will just hear that story. Right?
Yeah, man. And my theory on this is that confrontation will get you to the top. Attacking people in power will get you to the top, but it will inevitably bring you down from the top rather rapidly. What you do is you create you put yourself on an island, you build bridges, you burn bridges, and this industry is very small, so stomping on people will get you in power, but it will put you on an island where nobody really wants to see you succeed. Nobody wants to help you. And that's exactly what happened to 50 Cent. He got into a position where just nobody wanted to deal with him. Nobody wanted to see him win. And then that last confrontation against Kanye West, that was his demise. That was the confrontation that killed his career. He sparked that, and Kanye was a thriving superstar who was pushing a whole different narrative from him. He put 50 Cent was gangster rap. You know, 50 Cent was commercialized gangster rap, and Kanye.
That was symbolic, man. That was literally the moment where this nerd backpack, all this anti-gangster rap, like rose above. Like ever since then, like Kanye, because Kanye is that guy. He's the one who made that popular. That was a symbolic moment right there.
That's it, man. So I think as much as Confrontation may get you some quick attention and some quick success, I think it will also, you know, it'll hurt you in the long run, you know.
Because you have to keep doing that shit to keep attention. Right, and then now everybody's going to try to find the next artist to knock you out. And they're going to start strategizing against you. It's stressful, and it, just like they say, you know, you lose them the way you got them. It's the same way.
The same way. The same way.
You're doing that. So yeah, that's real.